You're probably familiar with the idea of slope. In math, you can assign a value to describe steepness, which is another word to describe slope. A slope of 5 is a lot steeper than a slope of 2. And if the slope is going uphill from left to right, like this guy crawling up the hill, it is positive. If the slope is going downhill, we say it is negative. Things like skiing and sledding and snowboarding are a lot more fun when you have slopes that are negative because you can go much faster. Hey, I'm Tammy and I do math for coffee, and I am going to teach you how to calculate slope. To get that slope number, we have to compare two values. There's a vertical change and a horizontal change. The vertical change is called the rise, and the horizontal change is called the run. We start at one point here. We're going to go to another point here, but we're not going to go along the line. We're going to go around the boxes and see how is it changing vertically, how is it changing horizontally. And we're going to be doing that from left to right. From the first point, I have to go up 1 until I'm at the same height as the second point. So that means my rise is 1. And then from here, I go around the corner and I have to go 1, 2, 3 boxes to get over to the second point, which means my run is 3. That means our slope is 1/3. So it comes out looking like a fraction, but it's not calculated like a fraction. It's actually a ratio of two numbers, the ratio of the rise to the run. To get from the first point to the second point, I need to go up 3 boxes. So my rise is 3 and it's upward. And my run, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. My run is 7. And I am running forward. That's also a positive movement. So it's positive 7, and we have a slope of 3/7. And like I said before with the snowboarder, it's more fun if the slopes are negatives. Here's a negative. You see it's going downhill as you move from left to right. I've got 2 points. I do the rise first, and instead of going up, I'm going to be moving downward. That means my rise is now a -3. This is how you get negative slopes. Instead of going up to get to the second point, we have to go down. Turn the corner. How many boxes? We went 5. So our slope is -3/5. We're looking at another negative slope, and here are 2 points. From left to right, I'm going to go from this point to this point. First thing is I'm dropping, and I am going down 2 boxes, so my rise is a -2. And I am running 1 box, so my run is 1. And when you do the math here, it's -2 divided by 1. That's going to be just a -2. So we say the slope is -2. If this is making sense to you, please click that like button right now. Counting boxes is easy, but many times it's not going to work because some of the times the points they give us, the numbers are too big. They won't fit on a graph paper easily, or you don't have graph paper. So I'm going to show you how to find the slope without having to draw the picture. Let's go back to the first one we did. I need to use the picture to describe this. Instead of counting the boxes, we have to look at the actual coordinates of the points. So this first point is 0, 0. The second point was 3, 1. The rise we figured out was the number 1, but we could have gotten that from the y coordinates in these points. 1 minus 0 is 1. What we're doing is we're finding the change in y when we do that. When we subtract the beginning point from the ending point, we're getting that change in y. So change in y is 1. And for the run, we got a 3. So we look at these points, we're going to have a 3, that's an x value, minus a 0, which is also an x value. We are finding the change in x. We did that by doing 3 minus 0. We can come up with a formula for this, and this will be a formula that you'll be given and see in books and on worksheets and everything, and they want you to memorize it. I think you should memorize it too, but it's important to understand where it came from to be able to memorize it. Rise over run, change in y over change in x. But for the formula, you can't use specific points. You have to be more general than that. So our first point has an x value and a y value, and we're going to put little subscripts of 1 on it. So x1, y1 means you're talking about the first point. x2, y2 means you're talking about the second point. When we find the change in y, we are going to take this y2 and we are going to subtract the y1. And that's difference is telling us how many boxes you go up or down. And the change in x will be x2 minus this x1. And that would be the number of boxes you count if you had it graphed. But you don't have to have it graphed now because you have this little formula that you can use instead. So let's use that. Find the slope of the line that goes through each pair of points, and I'm going to do a few of these for you, and then you're going to have some practice ones. The 4, 3 is going to be our first point, and this is going to be our second point. I always start by labeling these because I don't want to get these mixed up. It's really important that this formula has all the right numbers in the right spots. Y2 is going to be 13. So to find slope, we're going to do 13, and we're going to subtract the 3. Y2 minus Y1. On the bottom, x2 minus x1 would be 20 minus 4. Now just do the math. 13 minus 3 is 10. 20 minus 4 is 16. That's a good slope. However, you know, it's math class. We're going to look at that and go, oh, wait, that's not in lowest terms. So you have to reduce that to lowest terms. The biggest number you can think of that divides into 10 and 16, I'm just thinking 2. So let's take the top and bottom, divide them both by 2. And our final answer would be 5/8. It has a steepness of 5/8. A little trickier when there's negatives, but we'll be real careful. First off, we need our x1, y1, x2, y2 labeled. Keep things straight, especially if you get interrupted. y2 minus y1 is going to be this 17 minus, from the formula, a negative 7. Now, I put that negative in parentheses because there will be 2 negatives here. x2 is 15, and we are going to subtract a negative 5. Same thing happened down below. Well, when that happens, these double negatives change to pluses, so we end up with 17 plus 7, 15 plus 5. That's 24 over 20, and once again, not in lowest terms. The largest number I can think of that goes into both of these is 4, and so that's going to reduce to 6/5. So this line, it has a steepness of a positive 6/5. All right, now you have some problems to try. Are you ready? Hey, how did you do on these? I hope it makes sense. If it doesn't and you have a question, please leave a comment down below and I will answer your question as fast as I can. If you would like to support the channel, there is a link down below for Buy Me a Coffee, and you can buy me a coffee or buy me a dozen eggs. Whatever, I'm retired, it all helps. The next video will be about writing slope-intercept form of an equation, and when that's ready, you are going to see a link to it right here. Again, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.